So with a little more detail now on what we can expect, joining us is Ingrid Seward, who is editor of Majesty Magazine. You've been writing about the royals for some 17 years now.
A bit longer, I think.
Even a bit longer. So you're the perfect person for us to ask. As you look at this, everything that we learned yesterday, it really was a fairy tale moment. This sweet engagement, which Prince William held back on the details just a little bit, saying that he wanted to keep it private. Is it what you expected when we finally learned of an engagement?
I think it was what I expected. I thought that William would be very cool in the interview. And he was affectionate and patted her leg occasionally, but he let her talk, which is pretty modern, you know. I think when Charles and Diana did their interview, it was mostly Charles that did the talking.
It was, and she also had this look as well, sort of, you know, may I speak, may I not speak. You mentioned it was more modern. There's been some talk, too, that the royal family really needs to modernize a bit. Is Kate Middleton just what the royal family needs at this point? I
think Kate Middleton is what they need. I think they're modernizing quite well, but I think an injection of glamour and beauty and youth is exactly what they need.
And it's been said that actually the Queen is fairly fond of her.
The Queen doesn't know her. They've only met once. But Prince Charles is very fond of her, and Camilla is extremely fond of her, as you can see from her interview yesterday.
How important is that for Kate as she joins this royal family to have that backing?
She needs their support. She's going to need a lot of support from them. Although she's been around William for 8 years, she doesn't really know what she's letting herself in for, and she needs the support of the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall, Charles and Camilla, and the Queen will be there in the background.
You say she doesn't really know what she's getting herself in for. What is it that she is now in for?
I wish we knew. None of us know what she's really in for.
But what is it like to be joining the royal family, to be marrying Prince William? How significant of a change is this for her in her life? This morning she wakes up and it's all different.
It's totally changed for her. For a start, she'll have a detective with her all the time. She'll be living in one of the royal residences when she's not with William in his cottage in Wales, and she's going to really have to watch everything she says and does. And as Fergie always said, and Diana told Fergie, just keep smiling, and that's what she does.
And she has a beautiful smile. We see her on the cover of every paper this morning. She's just radiant, as every bride should be at this point. What are you expecting from their wedding?
I think the wedding will probably be at Westminster Abbey, but I'm always wrong. But I think it'll probably be at Westminster Abbey, and I think it will be, they have what they call a magic 400 guests they have to invite. And I'm afraid poor Kate is probably not going to have that many of her friends there. It'll be very royal.
Among that 400, that is dignitaries, heads of state. Those are the 400 you're talking about that they have
yes,
to.
Yes, the heads of state, depending on how big an occasion it will be. And then the Queen's immediate family. And then, of course, Kate Middleton's family come a little bit down the line.
Right.
But I think William's going to be determined not to let them be sucked in by the royal sort of machine. I think he wants them to have a bit of a say in this.
They really seem to be making their own path, and that seems to be something, too, that Diana had started for her children, really wanting them to have as quote-unquote, normal a life as possible, and it seems he's continuing that path as much as he can, even in this engagement.
Well, exactly. I mean, Diana said to him, when he was a young kid, you're going to have my engagement ring, William, for your fiancé when you're grown up. And he's carried that through, and she also said to him, make sure that your fiancé is your friend before you do anything else.
Which is what he said yesterday.
Which is exactly what he said.
And this is why he says he thinks it's going to work, because they were friends first. So is this a royal marriage, then, that you see lasting?
It has to last. And I think William knows that better than anyone. And Kate comes from such a secure background, unlike Fergie and Diana, who both came from broken homes. And I think this is the thing that the Queen is really thrilled about, that this girl has had a very happy childhood, and she's very together, and she's sort of holds herself well, and I think she knows what's going on.
And a fine role model. Well, we'll be looking forward to talking a little bit more about this, of course, in the weeks and the months to come as we build up. Great to have you with us this morning.
Thank you.